Why Dan Hurley stayed at UConn, texts with LeBron James, Billy Joel concert lead to decision to spurn Lakers. On Monday, UConn coach Dan Hurley turned down a 6-year, $70 million offer to coach the Los Angeles Lakers. It was a decision of significant consequence for the NBA and college basketball. Hurley, instead, will remain in college and has his sights set on trying to win a third straight national championship. CBS Sports spoke with the reigning National Coach of the Year on Thursday morning. Over the course of a 45-minute conversation, Hurley explained how the Lakers' offer surfaced, his trip to Los Angeles, why he was never missing that Billy Joel concert at Madison Square Garden and, ultimately, the factors that led to him staying put in Storrs, Connecticut. This interview has been edited for clarity. CBS Sports, what was your reaction when your agent called you last Monday and says this Lakers thing is really real? It's a different deal than Kentucky. Were you anticipating this? How did it land with you initially? Dan Hurley, because it's the Lakers, it lands differently. If your whole life has been basketball and the Louisiana Lakers call, it's an exciting moment. Your imagination goes wild because, if you're a historian and you love the game, all your memories as a child of watching it, thinking about it, it's like a really exciting moment. CBS, what emotions did you have walking into the Lakers facility? DH, it was exciting. There was some nervous energy in that way too, obviously. I had developed a rapport with Rob Pelinka over the course of a couple days that week. There had been pre-draft conversations with Rob about our players. I've had good conversations with Rob. Remember, Jordan Hawkins was a target of theirs in the last draft. So, I wasn't going in totally blind. Relative to Rob, there was a comfort level with Rob. But meeting Jeannie Buss and the Buss family of the Lakers was like, I think when she kind of walked in and said, "Oh, shit." CBS, what was the tenor of the meeting? Were they hard selling you? DH, I think it was. For us, it was basically adapting the things that we do at UConn, from an offensive standpoint, from a defensive standpoint, from a culture, a player development standpoint, and adapting that to one of the greatest franchises in all of sports. Combining what we built here in terms of our basketball identity and combining that with one of the greatest brands in all the sports in the world. CBS, what were you thinking when you walked out of the building, got on the plane and flew back home? DH, this is going to be brutal. This is going to be a hard choice. And I think, in general, and it's weird, because some of the advice, and there's just all these different things too, because you've got a lot of things going on in your mind, but it's funny, in the end, I just had this conversation with Alex Karaban. If a decision is really hard whether you should stay in a place or leave a place, and you're torn, you probably should never go. You should only probably leave a place if it's a clear thing to do. And so really, I just backtracked and just did what I told Alex. CBS, I know he's only one player on the roster, but Alex did have a 50-50 draft decision. He decided to come back and play for you, and then the entire situation flipped on its head in short order. Did you have some looming potential guilt over leaving the roster behind, leaving him behind after he had committed and wouldn't have been able to go back in the draft? I'm wondering if that might have played a bigger role than some people might have suspected. DH, big. Yeah, that was big, that was big, that was important. And again, I don't know, like, if he stays in the draft. I'm not sure what that does, because some players, the other returners, and then the transfers and the high school guys, the window would open up for them. But their options would be very limited at this point in the summer. There would have been an opportunity, just not knowing for the entirety of the group, but Alex in particular. Yeah, that was real. That came up a bunch of times, and I actually talked to him on Sunday. And I didn't talk to many people. I put the phone away at that point, but he was one of the few people I called and spoke to. Dan Hurley and Alex Karaban both decided to be back at UConn next season. Getty Images. CBS, what did he tell you when you talked to him? DH, he was good, but I want to keep a lot of that between us. He told me he'd be disappointed, but basically, he understood. Because this was like the equivalent, for these guys, of being a lottery pick, being a top 5 pick. To coach the Lakers was the equivalent for me of being the top pick in the draft of coaching. CBS, what about the program and what you would have left behind, and from a coaching perspective? Kimani would have been the guy that you would have wanted to run the program, but the uncertainty of whether or not he would get that chance, did that have any impact on your decision? DH, it was on my mind, but I wasn't really at that point of necessarily leaving, so it didn't really factor in. But it was something that was on my brain. CBS, outside of your family, who else did you lean on most heavily for either seeking counsel or advice as you